Good evening, everyone. Paul the Asset Nicholson here, bringing you some more live league action with Online Darts and Stephen Burton. Welcome back to the Online Darts Live League. We haven't seen him in a few weeks. In fact, we haven't seen him since week 4, where he made the finals. But was placed in 5th spot in the week 4 finals, which was eventually won by Kevin Burness. But he's up against the week 3 champion in James Richardson. James from Northamptonshire and Stephen from the cracking county of Suffolk. So who's going to win this one to start our action in Group C, where we have 5 entertainers of darting talent for you this evening. All games best of 7 legs, of course. And over the next 2 nights, they will do battle to see who has the most points at the end to join Aaron Monk in the finals for week 8.
1-2-1.
2 more players will come from Group B, of course, and we will bring you the end of Group B tomorrow morning into
100.
tomorrow afternoon British time. But who is going to be the favourite in this group? Well, good luck with that, because when it comes to a 5-player group,
40.
this one may be the strongest we've put together. Because not only do we have Stephen Burton and James Richardson, we also have
180.
Chaz, Barstow, Rob Owen and Wayne Warren, who came through as positions 2 and 3 from Group A this week. This game
180.
has started with a bang. 180 to leave 160 for James, 180 to leave 136 for Stephen.
100.
And he has left himself on double 18 after 12. We expected from this game, we expect from all of the games. But this is a very hot start. A lot of dart players do prefer to play at night, don't they?
36
And
in
Stephen Burton is one of them as he takes the first leg in 13 darts. I really do hope this standard continues. I'm sure it won't be 13 darters all night. We might get better, we might get worse. But I can't wait to find out as Stephen takes the first leg. I wasn't in the hot seat in week 3. Chris Mason had the pleasure of calling in
81.
that weekly win for James, which had some big highlights, including a 9-dart leg on his first day in Group A.
137.
He is a fabulously talented individual at the old darts, is our James. From the Rushden area of Northamptonshire, an area that I know very well. I used to live very close to there. But he will know of the threat of Stephen Burton. They've been hanging around the same circles over the last few years with the Challenge Tour, and of course some appearances on the PDC Pro Tour as well.
60.
I think the pace of this game really does suit both players. They're
78.
both quick, and we don't have any slow players for you tonight. Rob Owen is quick. Chaz Barstow is very fast. Wayne Warren isn't exactly slow.
121.
150 for Stephen is not going to go for the
60.
break. So, come on James, can you put a flake in this 99? Go to the top. Shout it from the top. Oh, what a fine try that was. And now Stephen does have a more doable shot to break the throw. Double 15.
75.
Oh, what a chance missed. Width of the wire away on both sides of that double. Double 5.
2.
It's a good shot. It's a good save, actually, because he did have to dodge a couple of shots at double 15 from Stephen Burton, and his throw is intact. But in this match, he still has to find a break if he wants the 2 points. Just looking at some statistics in the lead up to tonight's play,
120.
There was a lot of eye popping going on because I've been researching a lot of the players in preparation for these matches just to see what their current form is like. You can easily look at their past and say, yes, James Richardson beat Barneveld at Ali Pali, and that's great. But it was a long time ago. It's not relevant anymore.
81.
What have they done recently? Well, you look at someone like James Richardson. This is his 28th match in the Online Darts Live League in 2021.
80.
But out of the 27 matches that have been completed, he has won 20 of them with a win percentage of 74%. That
60.
is quite incredible. Stephen Burton has won 7 out of 14, so a win percentage of 50%, and I think that's very, very good.
180.
We have all of these players going head to head tonight, and believe it or not, the lowest win percentage of any
140.
player in this field is Stephen Burton at 50%. When I found that out about half an hour ago, I was flummoxed by it. So we'll dig into that in a little bit more detail in a second, because Stephen Burton could take the lead again if he finds tops.
Game in 3.
Tens it is, and a 15 darter just ups his stock even more. 2-1 up, and he has delivered 28 darts for those 2 winning legs. And James Richardson, if he wants to break him, is going to have to find something special. Averages for both players are above 100. 103 for Burton, 102 for
57.
Richardson. This is what they call proper darts.
91.
James Richardson with the only 9 darter in the Online Darts Live League so far
60.
in 2021. I'd like to see another. We've seen 6 10 darters.
97.
We've seen one from Richard North, one from Richie Burnett, one from Fallon Sherrick.
60.
Is this game starting to get away from James? Is that win percentage going to drop? Look at the other players'
53.
win percentages. Well, Wayne Warren's at 53%, and that's all due to yesterday, really, because he won 5 from 5, and that's what got him into this group.
125.
Robert Owen with a win percentage of 60%. He got 2nd spot in the table. That is very, very good indeed. But check this stat out.
100.
Chaz Barstow, who plays in the next game against Robert Owen, his win percentage is 92%. He's played 12 and won 11.
81.
So with that in mind, we expect from Chaz another for tops.
140.
Boy, has he played well this evening so far, Stephen Burton. And if he's reeled in here, fair play to James. Trying to hoist it over the top. He did have the option of the treble 16 in bull. Maybe he should have used it. Double 5.
20 and 2.
Stephen Burton is now 3-1 up on the fancy James Richardson. And is he catching James Richardson at the right time? Well, it seems to be the case. I said that James had to break Stephen. Well, it's gone the other way. And now Bertie is the favourite for the match. Firmly the favourite. As James's average plummets
85.
towards 93. Burton's down to 99. Seen some plucky darts today from Paul Holloway, who was in a couple of holes late in the campaign during the day, and he was able to muster 4 points from
139.
somewhere with wins against Josh McCarthy and Andy Jenkins. If James can get out of this hole, that will be some achievement for a Thursday night.
140.
We're which is traditionally in the UK Super League night.
100.
It is, of course, Premier League night, where there's been some incredible performances from the likes of Dimitri van den Berg. An incredible draw for James Wade against Jose de Sousa, who hit 11 180s in the match.
Done.
He's on course to break the 180 record. I think he's going to smash it. I've seen 3 180s in this match so far. 2 for James and 1 for Stephen. How much you would like this 10+ finish. The destiny of this game now is firmly in the hands of Bertie. 25-17 tops and game over. Well, there's 2. There's 60 more.
62.
And there is a mismatched dart. Double top for James to stay in it.
In 3
He does stay in it. That is plucky. I've mentioned that word before, but he could have easily missed that one and the game would be lost. But it is far from lost now as James gets us back to 3-2. And if he can hold here, he has every chance in leg 7.
Done.
Slightly different setup than what I've seen from James in recent times. He's got a stepped stem, which has different
43.
components to it. Slightly different set of barrels than what I've seen from him, but he does have a new manufacturer on his shirt.
43.
He is, of course, the current European Modern Amateur Darts champion.
100.
He defeated John O'Shea for that title at the Dawn at the end of last year. Sure, it won't be long before James is defending that strap. We do, of course, have the world
90.
Modern Amateur Darts champion here tonight in Wayne Warren. So we are littered with champions this evening. James
100.
finding more in the way of maximums than Stephen, and that last one was key. Gives him a bit of breathing space in this 6th leg of the contest.
Done.
How much is Bertie going to rue that missed dart at double 10?
125.
Single 20 for tops. Has to move just to get out of where that flight.
In 3 down.
Great shot. You can see the angle change when he's throwing from the left-hand side of the yockey, and how the angle of the dart shows you the way it has gone in past that other one which was in the way. But that 78 checkout takes us to the hill for the first time tonight when Bertie throws first. What a great game we have had to start our
40.
night's entertainment. And is that bounce out for Stephen Burton off one of his other flights going to cost him big? Me thinks yes,
85.
but maybe not. That is a somewhat lackluster 3rd dart.
140.
Good response. This group will return tomorrow night, of course, at the same time
26.
to finish up Group C. Who is going to be in contention? Will someone be cut adrift tonight?
31.
Our finals lineup in about 26 hours' time will have become clear.
58.
Chris Mason will return to the hot seat on Saturday night to bring you the finals. Will that include Stephen Burton?
60.
Will it include James Richardson? Well, one thing we do know is that only 2 people can go through this group. We're going to have 3 very disappointed dart players going home on Friday night / Saturday morning.
100.
Boy, is that an intelligent ton. Leaving himself on 130, which he knows gives him a single treble bullseye out. Got to go 25 here.
65.
Very good to leave himself 167, but Stephen Burton in the driving seat. He's fortunate that James Richardson has not been able to find a 15 darter.
85.
But if he finds an 18 darter, it will be sufficient.
83.
Didn't find the treble 19 for a shot at bull, and he has not had a match start in this game, James, but Stephen has, and he gets another, which he converts. It's an interesting last leg in 20 darts. It was the worst leg of the match, but ultimately having the throw really did count for Stephen Burton, who gets 2 points over James Richardson in match 1. Chaz Barstow will now take on place number 2, called Robert Owen from Group A, and they will go toe-to-toe in a minute. Back to our Group C action here, and we welcome back Robert Owen and his opponent. We also welcome back this guy, one of the stories of 2021 in my opinion. 36-year-old Robert Owen from Bridgend, fabulous town in South Wales. Get the feeling that maybe Robert Owen doesn't really want to play this evening because he was so close to winning Group A. He was within 1 leg. In fact, he was within 58 points of winning Group A. If it wasn't for a 130 checkout from Andy Jenkins in the 6th leg of their match yesterday, if he missed that shot, Robert Owen would have had the shot at 58 to win the group and already be in Saturday night's finals. But by virtue of that defeat, by 4 legs to 2, he lost Group A to Aaron Monk by 1 single leg. 45 games played in Group A, and it came down to 1 leg of darts. Quite amazing.
60.
Well, it's great to have Chaz Barstow back, the winner of Week 2. And the finals that included Robert Thornton, Adrian Gray, Barry Bates and Paul Hogan.
41.
And Paul Hogan is an interesting person to bring up when it comes to Chaz, because he
100.
is the only person to have beaten Chaz Barstow in this competition. 12 games played by Chaz. 1 defeat.
100.
1 defeat in 12 games. Imagine having a 92% hit
60.
rate. Wow, wow, wow. He's been plying his trade in the old Christoph Ratajski mood. He is in the box seat when it comes to getting a place as an alternate at the Players' Championships. He was the first person outside of the Q School
100.
slots. So he's going to get a lot of invites. And because he doesn't have a card, he can play here too. So he can play wherever he wants. Imagine having that sort of freedom.
60.
100 checkouts needed for the first leg. It's going to line up tops.
60.
And pray that Robert Owen doesn't get the 19s first on this 119. There's the 19. There's 60 more. And there is a ton plus checkout that Chaz did not want to see. He has been rather sneaky on the old checkouts this week. A best of 141 this week isn't better there, but that was a very tidy start as he breaks the throw immediately. Just had a nice chat with Rob in the last hour. He's one of those
60.
players that I knew absolutely nothing about until about 3.5, 4 years ago. He started cropping up at professional events and we just
140.
seemed to get on pretty well immediately. Something about the Geordies and the Welsh, they just get along really well. Well, having a chat with Rob about his leg, where
27.
his anterior cruciate ligament and his medial cruciate ligament are both damaged. So he's had an operation on that and he's
81.
got all sorts going on in his left knee. He actually said to me that if it was his right knee, his darts career would be over. And luckily for him, it is the left knee.
180.
And we are very grateful that Rob is still around because he has definitely got something to offer this sport.
180.
Is he going to offer this game a win? Because Barstow is starting to up the level a bit. Left 100 in the last leg, but not after 9 darts.
2 darts.
And that is an 11 darter from Chaz Barstow, a genuine climb in standard. We saw 119 in the first leg. We've seen 100 checkout in the second. It could be one of those matches that is littered with ton plus checkouts. So over to you guys, leg 3. It's a really interesting dart shirt that Chaz has on tonight. I think it might be a new one. It's got lots of speed stripes on it.
180.
Another 180 there. That's the third of the match. And Robert Owen leads that statistic 2-1 now.
97.
This is what you call no-nonsense darts. Both guys not wasting any time whatsoever. And I sneakily thought
140.
that Robert Owen might prefer playing late at night. The way he has responded to that 11 darter from Chaz
85.
is quite impressive. Maximum 140. And he's going to take some more off it.
105.
He's trying to line up his own 11 darter. Oh, here comes another maximum.
180.
Just knew it was going to hit. Oh, 2 maximums each now. What a game this is. Double 8.
Oh. 68.
Big chance missed. For the first hold. It's single 20 for tops. It's just underneath. And Robert has still got the chance to break once again. And that's what he does. 13 darter this time. The standard continues. 180s everywhere. Ton plus checkouts. We've had a couple so far. This is going to be a fantastic night if this standard continues. 2-1 to the Welshman. Can somebody hold their throw? Just left that hovering in the air there.
115.
Well, chatting away with Rob earlier, he wanted me to give a shout out to his 2 kids at home, who I'm sure are watching on YouTube, via the Online Darts YouTube feed. 6-year-old Jack and 10-year-old Freya. I'm sure Your dad is probably wanting to say to you, why are you not in bed?
180.
But if you're watching Daddy play darts, I personally, don't tell him I said this, I think you're doing the right thing.
100.
Daddy's not doing a bad job so far against the fancied person from this group. And I say that because
140.
of Chaz's proclivity to win matches.
58.
The way he has performed in 2021, I am absolutely amazed he didn't get through Q school. Single 9. Just. Doesn't get the double 16. That would have been a 12 darter. And the average for Rob Owen would have climbed even more. It's currently sitting at 104.
100.
His average will go up if he hits this.
First
And he
up.
has 3-1 up. And Rob Owen, who finished second in Group A, has started Group C with a great purpose. Is he about to bank a very valuable 2 points against Chaz Barstow? Let's find out. I am sure this wasn't the plan when Chaz
140.
saw the fixture sheet. He knew that playing against the likes of Burton, Richardson, Owen and Warren, it was not going to be an easy group.
81.
In fact, it's probably, with all due respect to all the other groups that we've seen, this is probably the strongest group we've seen.
99.
Especially knowing that all of the players in this group have had plenty of experience in this arena so far. We've got no greenhorns here.
100.
Burton played before. Richardson played before, won a week. Barstow played before, won a week. Robert Owen, second in Group A this week.
39.
Wayne Warren, need I say more? Wayne Warren didn't lose a match yesterday, so he's on a streak.
Oh, yeah. 27.
But if the first match of this evening is anything to go by, Chaz has everything
58.
but out of this one. You should never leave yourself 165, Chaz. And he knows it. He's not going to be punished for that fact. Don't get mad, just leave tops.
95.
Not quite, but that will do. This is supposed to be the easy bit, holding throw. That's just got harder. 14 for bull now.
25 left.
Not taking that out. Not taking 165 in 6 has offered Robert Owen a chance to win the match right here, with a third ton plus checkout of the game.
83.
He's not able to punch the ticket. And Chaz goes for 5 for double 10.
Game in 2.
Very intelligent. Very interesting that he took a step to the right after hitting that single 5. And from memory, I haven't seen him do that before, so maybe that's something he started to do in practice. We'll watch out for that one as we go into leg 6. The Online Darts Live League will take a break after the finals are finished on week 8, and to see more information about future days and fixtures, please stay tuned to the Online Darts Twitter, Facebook and YouTube channels.
100.
We'll see it there first. As you see from that camera angle how the darts land for Robert Owen. Very flat and to the left.
100.
A bit more Conventional for Chaz, who gets them to land quite upright. This is the leg that is the toughie for Chaz. Has to break here, otherwise it's
41.
game over. Oh, and that he thought was a treble when it was thrown. Unfortunately for him, he still needs an error from Stack Attack.
60.
One of the best nicknames in darts. Just imagine if you worked in a supermarket and you wanted a nickname, working at night shift, putting all the cans back in the shelves. My name is Stack Attack.
100.
He's got himself a very handy 60 at the end there, but Chaz is looking to take us to the hill. Oh, that's a great checkout. A third ton plus checkout of the match, and a second for Chaz Barstow, and we are going to the 7th leg for the second game in a row. Off to you we go. Come on, Robert Owen and Chaz Barstow, give us a great 7th leg. We are going to get some close matches tonight. Both averaging around 93, both with doubles percentages over 50%. High quality match. And we haven't even seen Wayne Warren yet. Robert Owen, of course, does hold a super regional title with Modern Amateur Darts. He is currently the Wales Sharks champion. You wonder if Robert is going to be going
92.
to any of the MAD events over the summer, of which there are a few. Some have been talked about on social media. Some have not yet.
81.
Yes, that was a teaser. I am in the know. Mentioned Chaz Barstow being able to play wherever he wants. Play on the Pro Tour if he gets the invite. He can play amateur events as well.
60.
Maybe he would be an opponent for someone like Wayne Warren. Or indeed Jared Cole if he takes Wayne's strap in the summer
80.
for the world title. Might even try and have a crack at his super regional title, which is also being defended by Rob Collins very soon against Richard North.
81.
But the 150 is for the game. I wouldn't have been shocked to have seen a 4th ton plus checkout here. He's got 74 left. And he's now got 71. Robert Owen find himself one more solid throw to snag the points. Double double. There's one. Oh, and the noise just told the story. If he'd have hit it, it would have been a very different noise. Chaz is going to get one dart for the match. Robert's just had one. That's how close this is.
Game in 3.
Absolutely brilliant from Chaz Barstow. What a game that was. Just nail-biting stuff. And he inflates his win percentage even more. He still has only lost one match. What a player. And it is 4-3 to Barstow as we go into match 3, which brings back Stephen Burton, who won match 1, against Wayne Warren, who finished 3rd in Group A. along to match number 3 of this evening's Group C action. And Wayne Warren has now returned to the Ocky for his first match in an evening session after having a very successful Wednesday, topping the daily table yesterday with 5 wins from 5 and providing us with still the only perfect daily record of the week. The last time he donned this shirt this week, it didn't go so well, but it took him a bit of time to settle into the life of online darts, live league action. But now that he's into it, got a little undefeated streak going, he may cause problems for Stephen Burton, who has got himself a first win in match 1 this evening. A very good first win as well, averaging just over 93.5 and 40% on his doubles
100.
to get a 4-3 win over week 3 champion James Richardson.
140.
Well, the game we've just seen, where Robert Owen was 3-1 up against Chaz Barstow. Barstow came away with the points. The averages may have only been 88 and 91, but it was an excellent game to call.
60.
Seeing as Wayne Warren lost his last match on Tuesday, and then every match since, he has won, so his streak is 5. I'd like to get that up to
100.
6. Of course, this is a truncated group, where previously in Group A it was 5 matches per player. This is only 4 matches
100.
per player, so the opportunity for points is less. So it's a little bit more intense. So the difference
80.
between a win and a loss is magnified. The opportunity for points is a bit more scarce.
59.
First leg opportunity here for Wayne Warren. And that won't help. Gets himself on
28.
93 from 121. He will not be pleased with that. .68 remain for Stephen.
90.
This forces Wayne to be very good on the bullseye potentially. 18 will give him a shot at it. What a lie he's got as well. What a lie it was. And what a shot that is from Wayne Warren. World champion style start from Wayne Warren. And just as soon as that 25 went in, you thought, oh, that's begging to be hit. And it was.
$57.
Yeah, we're going to get some good darts tonight, aren't we? I always knew we would. A win percentage of 53%
60.
in Group A for Mr. Warren. And based on the way his first 2 games, first 2
140.
days went, that is quite the achievement. Because on Monday, he only came up with 4 points in a very
100.
tight group. Then the next day he came up with 2, so things were getting worse. Until, of course, he got all 10 points
75.
yesterday, bagging 8 maximums, 2 ton plus checkouts, including his best of the week, a 136. And a somewhat steady
135.
average of 85, but it was the timing of some of his shots that got him over the line in some of the tight matches.
59.
After playing the last 3 mornings, maybe
60.
Wayne will have been quite happy to have a lie in just to get a bit of rest ahead of tonight. Stephen's not going to take the 170. His best finish that we've seen is 160. sitting on tops, and Wayne not able to take the 146.
40.
Should signal a level game.
Game in 1.
That is what we get. The cry of game in 1 from Stephen Burton, where he just sings his scores. A bit like Martin Adams. Maybe not as eloquent as Martin, but he just brings a positivity about the way he plays. He doesn't get too stressed.
140.
Believe me, I can attest to the fact that Stephen Burton is very difficult to beat. Played him on a few occasions, and he is very hard to break down.
30.
No doubles missed in this match so far, both one hit from one.
119.
You do get the feeling that when Stephen Burton saw the calibre of this group, he just thought, right, so we're definitely going to have to play well to get through this group.
81.
And if he gets a win against Richardson and Warren to start his campaign,
60.
we might have to start fancying his chances of making the top 2 by this time tomorrow night.
21.
This is a good approach shot.
145.
And I love that switch. He just completely forgot about the 180 and said, I want the 5 off the end of my score. Give me an easier 2-darter. Take the bullseye out of play.
38.
He has done that and is now on double 10.
Game in 3.
That's a beautiful execution in 15 darts. Stephen Burton is here to play, and he's here to upset the big names like Barstow, Warren and Owen. And don't forget about James Richardson, who he's already defeated. This is a good night for Stephen Burton so far.
$98.
Wayne might not know a great deal about Stephen.
60.
They've been swimming in different pools over the last few seasons.
140.
Get the feeling that Wayne Warren knows a little bit more about Stephen now. If he's never met him before, he might be saying, who's this guy?
100.
Sometimes it's better the devil you know than the devil you don't. I remember the first time I ever met Peter Jakes.
99.
He turned up at a Players' Championship about 5 years ago as an alternate from qualifying school, and not a great deal was known about him. He made the
100.
final on the very first day of the Players' Championship circuit, and he beat me in the first round. And I walked back to my table. I said, "Who was that?"
42.
And everybody at my table said, "I haven't got a clue." Oh, I know a fair bit about the Yorkshire Terrier now.
30.
Stephen has got options from 122. Decides to stay on the 20s.
65.
I'm surprised he didn't go for the 25 first, actually. A lot of people are doing that these days to try and leave 97 with 2 darts. Again, to take out the bullseye check out at the end, to try and get the harder dart out of the way.
57.
Should be 3-1.
37.
But it isn't. Hitting 2 out of 3 on his doubles up to that point. That is somewhat surprising. The 154 is not going to be taken. He did fancy that after getting the 60.
138.
Stephen Burton can't miss this time. Double 5 again.
10.
And he has missed. Olive branch Wayne Warren for a break of throw to take the advantage of the game back. And he has done in 19 darts. I'm very surprised with the way that Stephen Burton has played in this match so far. I did not expect him to relinquish that leg, but he has. It's 2-2. Here's me thinking we're going to get some really fast-fire games, and we are getting that. But every game is close. 4-3 to Burton in game 1. 4-3 to Barstow in game 2.
180.
I wouldn't be surprised if this one was 4-3. Wayne Warren still hasn't missed a double. 2 from 2. First 180 of the contest goes to Stephen Burton at the start of leg 5.
One, two, one.
That is what you call a good 1-2-1. You can still get a 10 darter after hitting that 1.
60.
Just 180 double 10. Quite simple. That hasn't gone to
26.
plan. Can Wayne Warren take advantage of that slip? Those very long, light darts.
100.
The leg is in the balance.
81.
Again, he slips into the single 1. Gets a very small number, which just allows Wayne Warren to have a tiny bit of hope.
81.
Does Stephen go to the 25 here or go to the 57? Well, there's your answer. Double 9.
9 left.
That was just a little bit jumpy, a little bit too quick maybe. And if this goes, advantage win. Treble 15 for tops, surely.
Like 52 left.
The doubles are starting to get missed by Burton.
In 3.
And he's hit this one. That's what you call a bit of a sigh of relief, as he's missed a few leading up to that. But as soon as Wayne Warren gets to a small number, like 52, he finds double 2 and he gets the break that he requires to win this one. Can he use it to get a 4-2 win? And with this group only seeing 8 matches per player, that leg difference is going to come into play. It has to
58.
at some point. Top 2 players progressing, of course, to the finals, not just the top person. Expect
100.
a lot of close matches. If indeed 2 players are tied on the same points and same leg difference, we will have to look elsewhere to separate them, whether it's their head-to-head record over the 2 days, or indeed if they win 1 game each and we can't separate them that way, we will look at how many legs they have won. If indeed that's the same, we could look at how many breaks of throw they've had.
134.
Heaven forbid we have to dig even deeper than that. I wouldn't be surprised if we had to.
100.
Stephen Burton, chance to win the match. First match darts at double 11.
Game in 3.
And that is what you get. A ton plus checkout. And he doubles his points tally to 4 with a very, very tidy performance in the end. It got a bit scrappy in the middle, but he finished superbly well. 4-2 win and on 4 points. James Richardson now takes on Chaz Barstow. And what is not to like about that? Matches down. And we do have 7 to go. 47-year-old from Rushton in Northamptonshire now to take on Chaz Barstow from the beautiful town of Winchester in the southern counties of England. They were on different ends of their first encounter. James losing 4-3 to Bertie, who has since doubled his tally to 4. So he leads the table. Closely followed by Chaz Barstow, the only other player to have netted points so far. So if Chaz gets another win here,
134.
we would see Burton and Barstow having a bit of a double act going before they do a duel against each other in Game 6. It would ensure that we would have an undefeated player going into their last match of the night.
55.
I'm sure it's not going to be that simple. Couldn't possibly be that simple in this format.
140.
Chaz has still only lost one match that he's played in the Online Darts Live League. That was to Paul Hogan. So he has played 13 matches now and won 12.
47.
As for James, he has played 28 and won 20. He won't be happy that he lost that first game of the night.
10.
But his stats told a story that he was playing all right. 91.37 average with 42% in his doubles. That's very respectable.
64.
But he was just outdone by someone who played a little bit better than him.
88.
Chaz is not troubling James's position in leg 1. And he
60.
needs to break James Richardson in this match if he wants to get another 2 points. Double 12 is there in 1, as James said. 16 darts gives him the lead, and that's what you expect from James. You expect him to get a hot start, and he's going to need to keep that up against Chaz here. I keep looking at Chaz's dart shirt, and it reminds me of something.
140.
I don't know whether it's the Doppler effect or whether it's a really old away shirt from some football club that I can't
40.
quite think of off the top of my head. If anybody's got any ideas, please feel free to tweet me tonight at the Asset 180. By all means, chuck me a few questions if you wish. Keep it clean. And if indeed you are having a bit of a flutter this evening, please gamble responsibly. 18s and over only. Please visit begambleaware.org for more information on that, because you do have the capability of watching this via the stream services of your favoured bookmakers. You can have a little flutter on maybe who's going to win the daily table today, who's going to come through the group, who's going to win this match.
137.
Chaz looking for a 170. He's not going to get one. That second dart must have come out wrong. He has a high finish of 120.
62.
James Richardson has got a high of 141. Can he find the ball?
25 left.
Your answer is no. Treble 18 would have left double 18. And to not get a shot at double, oh, that is silly. Why would you do that? That's Jose de Souza behaviour. Double 4.
In 2.
And it didn't matter in the end because James Richardson has found that break of throw. And he is now 2-0 up against the dangerous Chaz Barstow, who sort of imploded at the back end of that leg. Not getting a shot at a double from 170 over 6 darts is an error. James, who had to pit his wits against his own son
62.
in week 3. Imagine that. Well, we have had another father-son combination in the Online Darts Live League this year, but they didn't play in the same group. That's Aaron Monk, who is through to this week's finals, and of course his dad, Colin, who played in Group C in week number 2. It's great to see Colin back. It's one of the highlights of the last 8 weeks for me. Great to see that square on throw back
57.
in front of our cameras. I hope we get to see Colin again sometime in the near future. Great to see him looking so well as well.
39.
There's been news from the PDC this evening from
134.
Matthew Porter. He was talking to the Premier League broadcaster about the return of fans to Premier League darts in the coming weeks.
85.
He's also said that, fingers crossed, of course, with all social distancing restrictions being lifted
100.
at the end of June, that the World Match Play will be as normal in Blackpool. Can you imagine what that will be like?
123.
Neither of these players have been to the World Match Play. I'll tell you what,
100.
out of the two of them, one of them can still make it there. But it's tops for Richardson.
32.
And he's missed an enormous opportunity to get a 3-0 lead. Double 10.
Gaining 3.
Big chance missed. You just get the feeling that if James Richardson had taken that 52 out, he could have had a 3-0 lead and be so close to putting Chaz Barstow to the sword. He hasn't done so. And Barstow gets a chance like that. He just grabs it.
140.
He's under par in this game, Chaz. He's only averaging 80. Richardson's averaging much more than that. So you have to say it.
140.
That missed chance for 3-0. Is it about to bite him the way that Robert Owen was bitten in match 2?
121.
Ton.
Yeah, I mentioned the World Match Play, and of course Barstow still has a chance of making the World Match Play, of course, because there are 8 Players' Championships still going on before the World Match Play cut-off. And I'm pretty certain, with tour card holders
140.
from around the world not able to fulfill their obligations, Barstow will get invites.
Gaining 2.
And he gets himself another 11 darter. Not his first of the night. That took no time whatsoever. That's why he's so exciting to watch. It was going to be 3-0. Now it's 2-2. I hate to say I told you so, James. Should have hit that double top.
83.
100.
One way I would characterise Chaz Barstow, he's a bit like a Rottweiler. A Rottweiler that likes bacon.
60.
Don't give him a sniff, otherwise he'll have it.
134.
When he gets a streak on, he really, really does know what he's doing. So be very, very careful here. I know that James is a very aggressive dart player, and he's going to need that right now, because Barstow is starting to find it.
96.
I think he realised with that last start that he made a really big mistake. Is he going to pay for it? He's not.
82.
He's got the darts. Said he needed to break James Richardson to win this match. From the earlier position,
97.
he needed to break him twice. He's on the cusp of breaking him for a second time. This match is completely flipped around
126.
if and only if this 74 is hit. .56. He's got tops. And that is possibly the second biggest miss of this match, behind the 52 miss of James Richardson, who has now taken a 3-2 lead. This game is a bit like a pirate ship at the fairground. It keeps going back and forward and back and forward. Fantastic match to watch. Let's get into leg 6. So let's examine the fluctuations of this game. It was 2-0 to Richardson, should have been 3-0. Then it was 2-2, should have been 3-2 Barstow, and it's actually 3-2 Richardson. This game is a bit like trying to predict the weather in Melbourne, Australia. It's impossible. If you don't know what I'm talking about, listen to the song that Crowded House sang about Melbourne. It's called 4 Seasons in One Day.
'81.
You're going to get plenty for your book tonight, watching via YouTube or your favoured bookmaker, because the least amount of legs we've had in a match so far tonight is 6. Craving another maximum
100.
shot with the last dart. He doesn't get it. And this is for the match.
Tom.
Oh, he does find the last dart 60, and Barstow's got his back against the wall. Needs 83 with 2 to protect his brilliant record in this event. He has not been defeated in ages, but he might be defeated right now, as Richardson will return for tops to get his first 2 points of the night. Can he do it? There is your answer. Only the second defeat for Chaz Barstow in the Online Darts Live League. And the first 2 points of the evening for the Week 3 champ, James Richardson, who does a fabulous job there of getting the game back in control from leg 6. So, going forward, it is Wayne Warren, who now has an all-Welsh clash for the 4th time this week against Robert Owen. In a year where everything has come up Wales in darts, let's get a bit Welsh for a Thursday night. Robert Owen and Wayne Warren will do battle once again after they both came through Group A in spots number 2 and 3. The head-to-head record stands at 2-1 to Wayne Warren. Can this man from Bridgend bring it 2-2 with the decider to come tomorrow? Or will Wayne Warren win his third match of the week against Rob and tie up their head-to-head for the week? Should be an interesting game, this, because when you look at the statistics of the games they've had already, they haven't been of the highest quality. So maybe they're due to have a better game.
60.
A couple of really interesting questions have come through Twitter in the last few moments. One from Stephen saying he has just watched the Premier League and now is watching us. So welcome, Stephen.
Funny one.
You've made a good choice. He's asking, do I know when the match play draw is? Well, the match play draw will be done after
100.
the last Players' Championship, which is staged in Bolton in July. So you've still got a while to wait. There are 8 more Players' Championships to come. The draw cannot be
100.
made until those events are completed. So that is in the early part of July. So plenty of time to wait.
60.
Sport Boxers got in touch on Twitter as well. Don't know what their real name is, but they've said tonight's group has to be the most quality group there's been so far. I couldn't agree more. I've covered a fair few groups in the last few weeks, and for me, this one is littered. Wherever you look, there is quality. So I completely agree with that statement. One question that has been answered tonight
81.
is that of Michael van Gerwen, who has got himself another 2 points in the Premier League over Johnny Clayton. So maybe somebody's coming into form at the right time.
100.
Robert Owen, who was hurting a little bit earlier today from not getting himself into the finals, he'll still be wondering how he lost his first match of the night against Chaz Barstow. Did miss a shot for the match. He's got 2 shots for the first leg of this one.
Third up.
Something he has converted very well in his own way. You will see a few camera angles throughout this match which show the unusual angle of entry for Robert's darts, but they're very, very effective. Their games have been fairly close this week, this pair. 4-3 to Wayne Warren on Monday. 4-2 to Robert Owen on Tuesday. And then 4-3 again to Wayne Warren yesterday. And that's all we've been served up tonight so far. 4-3s and 4-2s.
140.
We just don't do close matches tonight for some reason. Maybe that is a sign of the quality of this group. I mentioned at the start of this match that 2021 has come up all Welsh.
100.
Well, it started immaculately with Gerwyn Price winning the World Championship for the first time. And I have to say it,
85.
as a big fan of Gerwyn's, I will be very, very happy to see him back in competitive action in June.
60.
He will have been away from competitive darts for a very, very long time as world champion. Played in
40.
March, of course, at Super Series number 2 in Milton Keynes. Then was omitted from the Premier League because of a positive COVID test.
100.
So if you think about the amount of time he's been away, it's the thick end of 3 months. Just in my own head, did I emphasise that enough?
99.
Yes, 3 months. That doesn't hurt him. That one does, because he doesn't get a shot for the leg.
85.
Might still get one though if Wayne doesn't take this out. Make sure of the single. Just about. Mrs. Tops to equalise at 1-1. Robert Owen looking for a 2-0 lead. Good lie. Other side.
Oh, well, crap. 8.
And Wayne Warren is looking to hold here. And does.
1.
Gets the second poke, or the second bite of the cherry. And he does find the cherry coloured double at the top of the board to equalise at 1-1 in this one. And we could be in for another close one between these two. Speaking to Rob Owen earlier, he was talking about his ambitions within the game and how he expects so much more from himself. Ever since he made the semi-finals of the UK Open in 2018, things haven't really materialised as he thought they would. And I think that's a fair conclusion from what has happened in the last 3 years. He has not maintained any tour privileges that he had. Has not kicked on in Players' Championships or European Tour events since.
97.
Talked about the absence of Gerwyn Price, of course, from the tour for the best part of 3 months. But something we haven't sampled in 2021 is the European Tour. And me and some of my European Tour colleagues are starting to get withdrawal symptoms. If it wasn't for the Online Darts Live League, I think I'd be going a little bit doolally. So thank you to the OD Live League, because it really has kept me on an even keel.
60.
Maybe I can have a word with the producers and we can pipe in some really bad
85.
Central European pop music, just to make things feel a little bit more usual for a May of a year. I can already hear them saying no in my ear.
Oh, 60.
Never mind, a man can dream. Single 20. A double top to take the lead. Oh, and Wayne Warren just misses it
59.
on the underside. Robert Owen should have been 2-0 up. Could be 2-1 up. Is 2-1 up. That's a really good conversion, considering what happened in the previous leg, where he threw the leg away and it was just gifted to Wayne Warren. He has found himself a nice little present on the way back, so the reciprocation of that 92 checkout is welcomed for Robert Owen. I mentioned earlier in the week that Robert Owen
140.
used to wear some pretty colourful dart shirts, which apparently were designed by some local school kids. Well,
100.
that tells you a lot about Robert, where he gets a local school involved in the design of a dart shirt. I think that is an amazing project
100.
for local school kids down in South Wales. The one he's wearing these days is very, very nice. I really like it. But it is, compared to his other ones,
81.
it's a bit bland. The other ones had purple and green and all sorts of different colours. This one's just a bit
100.
It's not bad. It's just not as memorable as the other ones. And I mean that in an affectionate way.
140.
I do like the detail on the back though. And like I mentioned before, it's a proper nickname. Now, Warren is referred to as Warren Boy on Twitter. His darts nickname is Yank. I don't know why. I just call him Warren.
60.
But I have to say, in an age of so many nicknames and so many replications of nicknames, I'm a big fan of something that's a bit different. And
44.
stack attack, yeah, that rolls off the tongue pretty well. He'll be hoping that he can stack his way to a 3-1 lead. Went the wrong side of it, didn't you, Rob?
82.
Wayne missed one shot at tops for a 2-1 lead. And he has missed double 10 and
50.
tops
Sorry, 40.
to tie things up after 4. Rob Owen is one of those players who might like double 19. Well, not anymore. Double 8. Fine shot. He's got himself a 3-1 lead as he's looking to tie things up in their head-to-head record for the week. He's currently 2-1 down, but 3-1 up in this one, and he is very close to getting himself 2 points for the first time tonight. Easier said than done, because this game, very similarly to the games they've had this week, the averages are in the mid-80s. The doubles percentages are below 40%.
44.
But Robert's got to be a little bit wary. He was 3-1 up against Chaz Barstow in game 2. He lost that game.
100.
With his leg difference currently standing at -1 with no points. He's got to get some points on the board sooner rather than later. Because this is the 5th game
Maybe
of
one.
10 tonight. We'll bring you Stephen Burton and Chaz Barstow next, which promises to be incredibly quick.
Oh, 140.
This is a good leg so far. Big lead of 205. I do feel for Robert Owen when he's got to bend down and pick that dart off the floor, because he can't bend his left leg.
140.
Tell you what, he's going to get some flexibility in those hips if he keeps dropping those darts. Treble 16 now, surely, with the 60 covered. Yeah, well thought out.
93.
Inches his way closer to the tape. Looking to pound his chest through the tape right here. And
55.
get himself to 2 points. And to leave Wayne Warren at the bottom of the table after 2 matches played. Double 16. Ooh, flicked the flight a little bit on the way through. And has put it inside. But he can take a breath. Come back and fix it. Wayne believes that this game is up. He might be right. And he's very right, as Rob Owen finishes the first 4-1 of the night. Everything had been 4-2 and 4-3 up to that point. But match number 5 has been completed. Wayne Warren is yet to score any points. Rob Owen has got his first 2. So, Stephen Burton and Chaz Barstow return to the hockey in a few moments' time to see if they can add to their tally. into the second half of play for this evening then, as we approach the midnight hour in Central European time, at least, nearly 11 o'clock here in the UK. 42-year-old Chaz Barstow will look to double his points tally for the night. And if he doesn't, Stephen Burton will remain undefeated and will be the only person on 6 points. He is the one to catch right now. And not only is this an important game for Chaz, but it's an important game for James Richardson, Robert Owen and Wayne Warren, because they don't want Stephen Burton to get to 6 points so fast. It's not good for them.
45.
And let's face it, if we're all
134.
neutral in this, we want the group to be close. We want it to go to the wire tomorrow night.
59.
Chaz will be reeling from his first defeat
58.
since the beginning of week 2. Now, no, he didn't take part in weeks 3, 4, 5, 6,
100.
7. But still, it sounds great, doesn't it? We're in week 8. He hasn't been beaten since week 2. Well, he was beaten about 40 minutes ago. Maybe even less than that.
40.
Still a very impressive record, though. 13 wins and only 2 defeats.
134.
And he's been very impressive in switching to that treble 19 this evening. He really, really has.
140.
Will he stay on the treble 19, I wonder? There you go. Tops. Oh.
96.
Now, Stephen Burton, can you find a similar checkout to that? Tops.
97.
Oh, and he can't convert it either. This is going to be quick.
Game in 2.
Even when the leg is taken in 17 darts, it feels better than that, because this game is going to be the old rat-a-tat-tat trick. As, well, someone's looking for the rat-a-tat-tat hat trick to get to 3-0 maybe. It's going to be Chaz Barstow with the first crack at it.
180.
That is what you call a rat-a-tat-tat hat trick on the treble 20. Am I going delirious?
59.
No, I'm just enthusiastic. I'd love to see another 9-darter before the week is out.
96.
Got to see a few 9-darters at the Super Series last week.
60.
From Nathan Aspinall, from Jose de Souza.
98.
9-darters aren't particularly rare anymore, so we try and find other things that are rare. One thing has
98.
happened in the 8 weeks that we've been on the air, and that's we saw a 356. That came from Andy Jenkins in week 1 against Fallon Sherrick. I'd love to see that again. We've seen a couple of 3-2-1s in 6 this week. One from Robert Owen, and that was to beat Andy Jenkins.
58.
We've also seen it from Aaron Monk. Chaz has left himself double 17. That lonely double at the bottom of the board
First up.
that nobody likes and nobody uses, but for whatever reason, he left himself double 17, and he's used it very well. So let's move on after that lonely little double is actually brought to the party in leg 2. If you wonder why my behaviour was somewhat quizzical about double 17, yes, it's just a double,
58.
but there was a study done at the beginning of the year in relation to
81.
2020. And double 17 was the least used double on the board.
85.
Makes sense when you think about it. Nobody leaves double 17 on purpose. Apart from maybe Chaz Barstow,
180.
who's just got himself another maximum. Second of the contest.
60.
17s doesn't break down very well. That's why people leave it alone.
96.
The only checkout that it really could be used in is 154. And that's if you go 2 treble 20s and double 17, but
135.
most people will go 2 treble 19s tops. So that's why it feels a little bit out in the cold these days. Well, Chaz, who's looking for that hat-trick of legs, is doing a very good job so far
96.
of leaving Stephen Burton out in the cold. Doesn't really matter
1, 2, 3.
what Stephen does here. It's about what Chaz does right now. That is a miss at the single. So that's scuppers that. 37 left. Just have a think about this because you don't often leave yourself on 37. Double 10. And I
27.
think he's missed that because he was way out of his quick rhythm.
In 3.
Oh, well, I don't think Stephen Burton was too pleased with shot at double 10. There was a sound effect there, a bit like the Scottish parrot I saw on Instagram about 2 hours ago, which made me laugh. But Chaz Barstow is not laughing right now, as it's 2-1 instead of 3-0. That flick of the eyebrows tells the story. He let that one go.
60.
And if you haven't seen the Scottish parrot on Instagram, look for it. It's hilarious.
98.
I was saying to one of the backstage crew about 2 hours ago when I discovered that. It's amazing what you
140.
come across in life and you think you've got everything you want. Keep life simple, and then you realise there's a parrot out there that talks in Scottish accent. And I think, well, yep, there's something else I want.
60.
Well, I want to see a 9-darter before the end of the night, chaps, so come on. Get your act together. I expect from this group.
100.
Everybody who is tuning in tonight, thank you for your company. Thank you for your support.
100.
We hope that we are giving you your much needed fix of darts action on a day that is delivering you 3 lots of darts. Of course, 2 different groups in the Online Darts Live League, and of course the Premier League darts as well. You'll get the same tomorrow.
139.
So if you're a darts fan, what a time to be alive. Double 8.
In 2.
Barstow finds that for 3-1, so he has rectified what he did wrong in leg 3. So 4 deep into this one, and we have a Chaz Barstow 2-leg advantage once again, as he is trying to find the 4-1. Average for Chaz up just over the 100 mark,
177.
and a typical 177 from Burton, who has slightly chunkier barrels than most people.
134.
So he does tend to switch a lot when he's got 2 treble 20s there.
140.
This is a strong leg from the man from Ipswich. I wonder if he's an Ipswich Town fan.
60.
Is he part of the tweeters on Saturday afternoon? The barrage my
43.
feed with their negativity about Ipswich Town, the likes of Meikle and Painter.
180.
Oh, maximum leaves him a match-winning 127 if this is missed from Stephen Burton, which it has been.
81.
He's just taken 64. He's not going to take something a little bit more difficult. Just doing his maths.
99.
and gets it right. Double top.
In 2.
That's beautiful from Stephen Burton. He reciprocates that 14 darter that we saw from Chaz Barstow in the previous leg. This one has been very fast, but measured at the same time, and a very, very good contest, which is not over yet.
100.
Fascinating that the average of Stephen Burton is only 87. It just looks so much better than that. Barstow's average has gone up to 103. 3 180s in this match, all coming from the man from Winchester.
59.
In the best of 7 format, you can't relax. You can't think that you've already got the win.
136.
That's the beautiful thing about this game of darts. I've talked about it a lot over the last few weeks.
140.
It's a game where you're not ever given a game. You have to physically win it. In a game of
43.
tennis, your opponent can hit the net and give you a point. You're not given points by your opponent in darts.
140.
Chaz Barstow is looking straight at the finish line
95.
in point blank view. Oh well, what's he done here? Has he inadvertently left himself on double 14?
18 left. 28.
Yep, 28. First and foremost, get the maths right. Second of all, get yourself the double that you didn't even require to start that visit with. But he has got himself the maths right, and eventually he has got the execution right. So who are we to say no? It is a 4-2 victory for Chaz Barstow, who's got back to normal, and he is a bit of a Jose de Souza wannabe when it comes to the maths and the execution, but he has got the win. Next up is James Richardson and Robert Owen as they come in next. very warm welcome back to game number 7 of tonight's schedule, which sees James Richardson take on Robert Owen. 4 matches remaining then. And time is running out already in Group C. These two, both on 2 points, looking to keep pace with Stephen Burton and Chaz Barstow, who are on 4 points. But the big silver lining for whoever wins this game, no matter how wide they win it by, they are going to go top of the table.
It's James throwing
So
first.
Chaz Barstow, in beating Stephen Burton, has done himself and both of these players a very, very large favour. We've just seen the first Tom Plus average of the night, and it was 103.19 for Chaz Barstow as he hit 57% of his doubles. A very, very impressive display from Chaz, which we didn't come to expect really. But my production friends have let me know that the stat about double 17 being the least used double
60.
is indeed correct, especially in the Online Darts Live League, because the double 17 hit that we saw from Chaz in that previous match was only the 9th double 17 hit so far in the 7.5 weeks we've been playing. Imagine that. Only 9 double 17s out of 23 attempts as well. So in all of the time we've been playing, only 23 darts have been aimed at the double 17 to finish a leg. There may have been some on approach. The next most
100.
rare double is double 11, which has been hit on 12 occasions. So double 17 is hunting double 11 down.
Tom.
Stats Corner was brought to you by Red Dragon Darts. Darts that deliver. That was my own fictitious little section of tonight's show.
100.
Maybe I've been listening to a bit too much radio. I would like to thank all of our sponsors who have been on board with us for the last 7.5 weeks, the likes of the DJ Shop, Marshall Group, Frame Smart, Serviceur and Red Dragon Darts, who have provided us with all of the wonderful equipment that we've used. And that is right in the corner as we see a double 12 hit. We've seen plenty of double 12s. We've seen plenty of Tom Plus checkouts. And we've also seen one at the very start of this match as Robert Owen takes a 1-0 lead over James Richardson. Early break of throw as well, and much for James to mull.
$140.
$140.
Trading 140s at the start of this one. You're going to have to stay straight. And in Robert Owen speak, that's keeping the points straight, not the darts, because his darts don't go in straight.
85.
You know what they say, it's not about how they look, it's where they end up.
43.
Everybody's different. These two are very, very different in delivery. Not in stature, they're about the same height. You know what they say about dart players with low centre of gravity? Just look at Phil Taylor, look at Jockey Wilson. They weren't tall. There's no such thing as a height advantage in darts. Believe me. This is a much needed visit
180.
from James, who finds a maximum. And closes the gap, potentially,
Rob, what the-
after Robert took that first leg in 15 darts.
49.
Double 18 to have a better leg than Robert had. He's not going to go for the double 9. I think that's prudent.
33.
Well, what have you done there? Well, he's busted the score because in going for the single 10, he left himself on a measly 3 little points. And he didn't fancy leaving himself on double 1, so busting the score was exactly the right thing to do. Double 9 this time. And it's all gone wrong
28.
as soon as he hit that maximum to leave 36. This is a very unexpected chance. And a very unexpected leg win for Robert Owen. I did not envisage that happening right there, as James Richardson has fluffed his lines on double 18 twice to offer a 2-0 lead to Robert Owen.
One, two, five.
Succeed.
Anyone.
When you get this kind of start in this
140.
match, you want to be able to use it. And if Robert stays in touch with James and he has more trouble in his doubles,
60.
he will be there to pounce. He has been fairly opportunistic this week. He has taken advantage of some errors in tactics and in execution. The one that stands out
100.
is a match he had with Andy Jenkins earlier in the week, where Andy was staring down a shot at the bullseye with one dart left in his hand.
85.
But previous to that visit, Robert Owen had hit a maximum from 321 to leave 141. Andy rejected the opportunity of going for the bullseye.
139.
He hit an 18 to leave double 16. Well, the problem was Robert Owen had 141 for the match and he hit it. 150 coming in.
120.
And that was a big, big shot for James. You can tell that he thinks he probably had to hit that. Just misses the treble
Oh, Rob.
and doesn't miss.
30.
Well, he does miss the double. And Richardson, who doesn't hesitate usually, is having bother on the outer ring.
22.
And more bother. Well, well, well. Double 16 for 3-0. Getting closer.
Third dart.
Close enough. And if he wanted to make James Richardson feel even worse than he possibly could right now, because he has let the last couple of legs slip, I think he could do so by hitting that third dart at 32. That's exactly what he's done. And he is one leg away from a potential bagel, which would put him top of the tree. I was going to say top of the table, then I was going to say top of the tree. And I said
100.
something in between. My apologies. Losing 4-0 would be very damaging to James Richardson at this point. He does have time to recover. with one match remaining tonight against Wayne Warren, but only 4 matches tomorrow night.
96.
He may be afforded very few mistakes tomorrow night.
140.
Even if Rob Owen does win this match, he wouldn't be in the distance. He'd only be 2 points away. He'd have 3 players on 4 points and James on 2.
140.
So nobody has really swept this group aside yet. Stephen Burton tasted defeat for the first time in the last match. So everybody's been pegged back as somewhat.
100.
Got to leave something really small here,
135.
just to give himself the chance if Robert Owen doesn't find a second 101 checkout of this match. But he might. Double 16. Game shot and the match to Rob Owen, who fabulously bookends the game. 101 checkout in the first leg, 101 checkout in the fourth, and that has got him to the top of the tree. Yes, the top of the tree, or the top of the table. So he is the man to catch. Wayne Warren and Chaz Barstow will come back in about 3 or 4 minutes, and they will play their penultimate game. misses at doubles have cost James Richardson dear in that previous match. And he now sits on 2 points with 3 players on 4, and one of them is Chaz Barstow, who is playing his final match of the night right now against Wayne Warren, who is playing his penultimate match. He will have one more after this against James Richardson himself. But where does Chaz finish? Does he finish on the 4 points that he currently has? Or does he bolster his position and get to the top of the table for now on 6?
Yes, Chaz throwing first. Game on.
First meeting between these two in the Online Darts Live League. And after Chaz got himself a very,
93.
very good 103 average against Stephen Burton in his last match, he will fancy going out with a bit of a crescendo this evening as we
134.
reach the half 11 mark here in the UK.
60.
It was an excellent performance against Stephen Burton, who had not tasted defeat until that point. He was
100.
ultimately way too good. Will that be the case against Wayne here?
44. 43.
These guys play so fast that they do their own calculations and corrections on the
40.
fly. Wayne has started fairly hot here, leaving himself on the old 1-2-7 in game
Oh, yes. 121.
for the first leg. Bullseye if he chooses. Doesn't have to go for it. Chaz on 183. Don't get too close, Wayne. Your head hits that flight and it hits the floor. That's 17 on the floor. Just going to try and make up his mind. And he leaves himself on tops, which I think is the wise play.
Hey.
Should be the first leg and a break to Wayne Warren. If he can find double 15. Looked somewhat puzzled that he'd hit double 5 there. Well, everything has been forgiven as Wayne Warren does find the first leg in 15 darts. Somewhat quizzically, he could have taken it in 12, decided to try and take it in 15, and that's exactly what he got in the end for a 1-0 lead. So far this evening, Wayne has not got a point.
121.
But if the first day of Group C is to be anything like the first day of Group A,
55.
Wayne has got to get a move on. Because on Monday, we had 3 players on 6 points and 3 players on 4 points. It was the closest possible group.
45.
It was ultimately won on leg difference by Aaron Monk, who won the daily table on Tuesday as well on leg difference. It was Wayne who won the league on Wednesday. He's going to
100.
get himself back in this group. You get the feeling he needs a win against Chaz, and he needs a win against James as well. And that would
57.
tie him on 4 points with Chaz and keep him ahead of James Richardson. That would confine James to the bottom of the table for the night. So
91.
all is not lost, even though he's lost his first 2 matches.
180.
A little bit better from Chaz there. He's been lacking in this game so far. If he can convert 292 points in 6, he'll be back in this match.
81.
Good lie for a 60. But he wasn't able to bounce it in. 67 points on approach. Treble 9 was the target. Tops is the target here. I'm seeing all sorts of different targets hit here. It's like a counter's nightmare. Double top.
Game in
Double
three.
10 pinged just inside the outside wire for Chaz, who equalises at 1-1. We have seen some somewhat quizzical approach shots in this match so far, which have got me flexing my eyebrows, but what are we going to get in leg 3? So over to you guys.
$140.
You may have a few pennies on who is going to win the daily table today in Group C. If you had a little bit of a flutter on Scott Baker to win the daily
Well,
table in Group B, well done, because that's exactly what he did. Colin Osborne coming on second, and we will conclude that group starting in about 10 hours time. Wayne Warren started this leg with a 180, and that was his first of this match.
80.
The current favourite for winning the daily table is Robert Owen, because he's currently at the top of the table with 4 points and +6, followed by Stephen Burton and Chaz Barstow on 4 points and +1, but that can change. It will only change
60.
if Chaz gets the win in this match. If he doesn't,
100.
then it will be a shootout between Stephen Burton and Robert Owen for the top spot for the night.
$131.
He does get a very fortunate looking 11 there, as Chaz goes for the old Shanghai on the 18s.
36 left.
Couldn't see the point, but we could tell from the shadow of that barrel that it wasn't close to the double 18. Double top. And it is now a third consecutive break of throw in this one. Wayne Warren, who converts that 50 with ease and is starting to put something together after a bit of a rusty start. Can he get a hold for 3-1? Sure, there are a lot of dart shirt collectors out there who are eyeing up that shirt that Wayne Warren's wearing, thinking, I wouldn't mind having that in my collection.
60.
That's one thing that I have been made aware of during the last 12 months of lockdowns and restrictions
125.
and increased social media activity. There are a lot of collectors out there of match-used darts, flights, shirts, cases, other memorabilia. I've often been asked by people on social media, what's the best piece of memorabilia you have? I've got a few good ones. I've got Robert Thornton's Jockey Wilson Cup shirt when he played with Gary Anderson in Glasgow.
180.
That's one of my favourites. I've got a Mikuru Suzuki shirt which she used when she won the world title back at the O2 last year. That is something I treasure.
45.
I'm a big Mikuru fan. No shot at bullseye for Chaz. And with Wayne Warren already
59.
converting 10 and tops in the previous leg, if he gets the 60, he'll go for the same. Well, 89 left. Still 89 left.
21.
Chaz double 4.
Game in
Chaz gets double 4. Good quality match this. 14 darter there from Chaz Barstow to level things up 2-2. Looking to finish the night strong and to put himself in a really strong position for the top 2 come tomorrow night. You get the feeling he might need these extra 2 points for that.
60.
Some other bits of memorabilia that are floating around in my collection.
60.
I've got a couple of good poster boards from 2 very good exhibitions I did about a decade ago, and they're fully signed by all of the players. I keep them in
98.
wrapped in plastic in a temperature-controlled environment. I just think they're going to be a nice thing to have someday. I've also got some very good dart shirts from
140.
World Cups I've been to. I've got a shirt from every World Cup I've played in. And I
100.
do also have one of Mark Webster's World Cup shirts. We had a shirt swap from a few years ago, and I've got one of Mark's, which I really do treasure.
55.
It's the least he could do, considering he beat me in 2010 in the
85.
semi-finals. Mark Webster and Wayne Warren get on exceptionally well. They're 2 people that when you put them in the same room, sparks fly, and I mean in a good way. The jokes fly, and they've shared time in the Welsh team together.
140.
2 of the best players that Wales have ever produced. Both, of course, BDO World Champions. 78 left for Chaz.
98.
Wayne Warren, who had the chance to go 3-1 ahead with a 110 checkout, is now staring at a 3-2 deficit if he doesn't take this 106. This is in Chaz's wheelhouse, and you can tell that he can't wait to get cracking. Tops. Back to the centre of the hockey. But not into
40.
the centre of the double 10. Fine margins in these best of 7 matches. Double 16. Fine margins separate
32.
brilliance from mediocrity. That is mediocre. That's not.
Game in
But
3.
that is brilliant. 3-2 to Chaz Barstow. He was measuring his way to that double 10 and eventually got it with the 3rd dart. So he has the chance to finish the night with 6 points if he can get one of the next 2 legs. One thing we do know now
95.
is that if Chaz wins this leg, he will finish the night on 6 points and plus 3.
120.
If he wants to win the daily table, he'd need Stephen Burton to win the next game by 4
45.
legs to 3, because he needs the game to be tight. Robert Owen has a better leg difference,
134.
and I'm sure he's not thinking about that right now. He just wants to get this result, of course. We'll talk about the leg difference a bit more tomorrow. But these players know their situation. They're given the lowdown after every match. There is a fixture sheet on the practice room door, and they will know all of the results when they come in.
121.
This is a really good leg here from Chaz, who has not averaged as well as Wayne Warren throughout this game. He's just
85.
done enough. It's what I like to call a finger of fudge performance. Just enough to give yourself a treat on the ball.
Game shot.
Oh, he does give us a treat now and again, doesn't he? What a way to finish your night. A 1-2-6 on the bull. Off she goes. 6 points plus 3 in your leg difference. And that's job done for today. But is it good enough to top the table after day 1 of Group C? Let's find out as Stephen Burton now takes on Robert Owen. Time to find out in this penultimate match of tonight's schedule who will top today's daily table in Group C. It could well be Robert Owen. And if he wins this match, he will be top of the table going into day 2 of Group C. It doesn't matter about the margin of victory. Stephen Burton still has that opportunity of topping the table too. But he has to win it by a certain margin because he is now 2 points behind Chaz Barstow, who was finished on 6 points and +3. And his leg difference is behind Chaz too. And because he lost to Chaz this evening by 4 legs to 2, he will have to win by 4 legs to 1
It's Robert throwing
against
first.
Robert Owen
Game
if
on.
he wants to win today's table. So if you've had a little flutter on Stephen Burton, he needs to win 4-1 or 4-0 against the current occupier of second spot.
100.
One thing we do know is that the last game of the night will be between the 2 people
85.
at the bottom of the table, which is a bit of a surprise, considering that is James Richardson and Wayne Warren, the current occupiers of the European and the World Modern Amateur Darts titles. James, who started with a defeat to this man, Stephen Burton,
100.
has not been able to find a great deal of pinpoint form this evening. There's still time.
100.
58.
Earlier on today we saw some excellent darts from the likes of Colin Osborne and Scott Baker, who both netted 8 points in their quest for the top 2 in Group B. They will
100.
return in around 9.5 hours' time. As will we. We hope you'll be there too.
60.
You can tune in however you wish to see some more darting action to grace the entirety of Friday.
84.
Well, 84 leaves him fairly well placed actually after 15 darts.
83.
Single 17 for tops. It will be job done in leg 1.
37.
Able to find the target. That's a great first start. Ominous. Oh, that really didn't come out right. He shouldn't have been anywhere near that flight. And he's fortunate that he didn't bust the score. What an amazing dart that is. With the camera angle the way it is, it's actually pointing from down towards the left ankle of Robert Owen, just showing you how askew those darts are going in. I thought it was a blocker that first dart, but it wasn't. It was a guide.
$120.
A reminder that any win in this match and Robert Owen will be top of the table going into Friday night. He's worked massively hard this week, has Robert.
60.
He grabbed 4 points with an even leg difference on Monday,
121.
averaging around 87.5 for the day. And then into Tuesday, he improved. He doubled his points tally. He got 8.
60.
Average actually went down on Tuesday, and he got double the points. Averaged 84.74 for Tuesday, sorry. But Wednesday, he finished 3rd with 6 points, and his average went down again. But you're going to find that sometimes when the
60.
games get closer. You're going to have a few more missed darts at double.
82.
Burton firmly in control of this leg.
180.
Well, until then, he's left himself on 141. It may not matter,
Into.
and doesn't. And maybe Stephen Burton was watching a couple of days ago when Andy Jenkins decided not to go for the bullseye when his opponent here, Robert Owen, hit a maximum to leave 141. Not the same trick here as it is leveled up. Best average of the week for Robert was 94.95.
100.
He's never really been one to put in those massive 100-plus averages that sometimes we get from the likes of James Richardson and Chaz Barstow.
60.
But that 94.95 performance, it was a really, really good display.
81.
It was in a 4-2 win over Aaron Monk, game 4 on Tuesday, while he
100.
hit 67% of his doubles, and that's one of the reasons why he's got himself in a strong position most of the week. His doubles have been very good.
140.
One, 3, 7.
Does have 6 darts from 180. Just don't do a Richie Burnett, Rob.
$95.
100.
He's on a bit of notice here. He's got Stephen Burton just over his shoulder. 85 left. Has to go to the treble 15 now.
Game in 3.
Well, that is 2-1 to Robert Owen. I'm just getting the feeling that I got my maths wrong. Or maybe I was looking at the wrong shot. It is late at night, and that isn't completely my fault, but it's a good job that Robert Owen didn't get it wrong because he's 2-1 up.
$80.
I get the feeling I was looking at Stephen's score. As soon as he got the 19, I thought he's got 85 left. Well, he did have 85 because
100.
he's had 85 with 3 dots. That was completely my error. Somebody take this Horlicks away from me.
45.
Well, everybody who is still tuning in, you are the night owls of darts, and I salute you. One thing we can say with that third leg win is that Stephen Burton can no longer top today's table. He needed a win of 4-1 or better.
140.
So if Chaz Barstow is going to be displaced from the top of the table, he can only be displaced now by this man.
140.
So if Burton does win from here, Barstow will be top of the table going into Friday.
36.
And he will be at that point. I've just redone his game-on-game stats. He started with a 92% win ratio. That's gone down to a lowly 88 after another loss tonight. He's won 14 games out of 16 games.
80.
Quite astonishing. If he wins 4 tomorrow night, Chaz Barstow, and wins the group, it will be a rather sickening record going into the finals.
97.
Nice leave from Robert, who forces Burton to take the Shanghai. Up you go.
In 3.
In she goes, 120 out for 18 darter. And this is a 2-all game. Still delivering even this late into the night. Stephen Burton will not give up in his quest for 6 points going into Friday. Chaz Barstow does win 4
60.
matches tomorrow, he will have played 20 and won 18. Just try and figure that
140.
out compared to the players that he's played against. He's played against the likes of Thornton, one of the all-time greats. He's played against James Richardson,
140.
Wayne Warren, world champion. These are not measly players. This is why we really do rate Chaz Barstow and what he's
35.
doing at the minute. He's going to take some stopping tomorrow. And it is firmly up to these two to do it.
140.
Nice leg here from Robert. It's where you want to be as a seasoned dart player all the time. On
140.
161 after 9 with a chance of a 12, but with your opponent not on a finish, you can lay up nicely here for the possible 15 darter.
60.
You will not like visit 4 to the board.
Stephen, 42.
But he's been let off the hook. As they say in Wales, the hook. He's not going to get 101 this time. He's hit 2 of them
69.
tonight. Actually hit them both in his last match. In leg 1 and leg 7. Or in leg 4, sorry.
46.
Because it didn't go 7 legs, it only went 4 legs. First and last leg, that's what I meant. And that is double 16 for a 3-2 lead. And Robert Owen is within 1 leg now of topping the table, which would be a fine, fine effort to deny Chaz Barstow another daily title. Stephen Burton still in this, of course, has to win the last 2 legs for a further 2 points.
140.
That last dart has slipped out of his hand, but somewhat fortuitously found the single 20.
66.
If Burton goes on to lose this match, it will have been a night of 2 halves, where he won the first 2, lost the next 2.
98.
Yesterday, of course, it was confirmed that it will be an all-English
85.
Champions League final between Chelsea and Manchester City. It is not going to be an all-English Europa
99.
League final because Arsenal have been defeated by Villarreal. Manchester United have got through. So 3 out of 4 spots in the 2 big finals have gone to English clubs, so many congratulations to
100.
them. Stephen, looking for the 164, has decided not to go
124.
for it. Decides to cheat us out of a big finish like a 164. You did see
180.
a 126 at the end of the last match,
In 1.
and we've just seen that beautiful 164 in 4 darts taken by Stephen Burton to take us to the very last leg of this one. So it's a 1-leg shootout to see who joins Chaz Barstow on 6 points going into Friday. Well, considering it is already Friday, let's say it Friday night.
137.
Could be a really, really interesting leg, this. Because with only 5 players in this group, very few
97.
matches remaining. The opportunity to get 2 points from one of your closest rivals in the group. They don't come around very
60.
often. So don't squander it, you guys.
83.
There's no squandering going on here. Just good jousting. This is brilliant.
140.
Yet again, he positions himself well after 9 darts. And it was
55.
4 darts that Burton required for 164 in the last leg. Right now, Robert will take that. Or 3. Oh, almost
129.
finished tonight's action for himself with a real banger.
99.
Well, Stephen has put himself on the right number, but he's expecting to lose now. 88. 4. And both match darts
70.
caress the wire. Stephen's not going to finish with a flourish.
41.
He's expecting to finish the night on 4 points. 4 for Robert Owen. That is firmly in the way.
Oh, would you believe
Oh,
it?
would you believe it, he
Okay.
says. The last match finished with a 126. Could this one?
Oh, sting.
No, there's the 26.
46.
He's not able to find the extra 100. Match dart number 7 is good. And
Well,
Robert
done,
Owen,
Matty.
getting into the early hours of Friday, has finished the first day of Group C at the top. Second place will go to Chaz Barstow. Where will James Richardson and Wayne Warren finish? Well, let's find out as they play the final match of the night. Well, the tail of the tape from the last one. An average of 90 for Robert Owen and 30% on his doubles. And Stephen Burton was 75% on his doubles, but didn't get enough chances. 3 from 4 for him, but ultimately he has to settle for 4 points and a mid-table finish this evening. He could wind up in 4th position in the table if and only if James Richardson does find a 4-0 win here. But any win for James and Wayne Warren will remain at the bottom of the table after the first completed night of Group C. Another permutation is that James Richardson could find his way to the bottom of the table, surprisingly, if he is defeated by 4 legs to 2 or better for Wayne. That will flip around their leg difference and give Wayne his first 2 points of this evening's player. I say this evening, it's actually early morning here in the United Kingdom now, as we have approached 12:10. Can't have been many times where these guys have played so late. Well, in fact, James has experience of playing the evening session and has won in the evening session in week 3, of course. Nice sleeve of tops after 12 darts here for James. And this one is motoring along at a lovely pace. Seems to have a bit of intensity in his eyes, does James Richardson here. Oh, well, that's a slip. Decides to bust the score, and I think he did the right thing there. That's the second time he's had to do that tonight. But that shake of the head from Ruthless tells you that he's not a happy camper. Well, it is in the 14. I don't know whether I'm reading the letter of the law right, but I'm of the opinion you're not allowed to touch that dart, Warren. And he's taken the leg there by 1-0. So it is 1-0 to Wayne Warren, but I think if there was a referee there, maybe he might have said, don't touch that dart, Warren. Well, it didn't displace, so it is a 74 checkout. The name of the game, of course, is to make it to the finals. And we've had some excellent final groups. We've seen the likes of Joe Davis make it to consecutive final groups over weeks 6 and 7. Just to make it to the finals is some achievement.
140.
In order to win one, you've got to play well to get there, and you've got to play well on that finals night. That's something that James has done, but this evening it just doesn't seem to have clicked as much. That intensity seems to have returned after losing that first leg. It's either intensity
140.
or just a little bit of anger. I wouldn't blame him. That should have been his first leg. Double 18. He's had some trouble on doubles tonight, has James, but not on this occasion. He cleans up that 61 with no messing whatsoever. He had the option of going elsewhere on the board, like treble 15 or treble 7, but he went the old school route of 25, double 18, then double 9, of course. This time tomorrow, when we're wrapping up Group C, I might have to
45.
talk about my highlights from the first 8 weeks of the Live League as we take a break after Saturday night. Of course, one of the biggest highlights was the 9-darter from James Richardson. Some of the exploits of Richie Burnett will be something we could possibly talk about. But maybe the highlight of the 8 weeks hasn't happened yet. It'll be really cool to see it
140.
during the day today when we return in about 9¼ hours for the start of day 2 in Group B. Don't forget that Paul Holloway,
60.
Colin Osborne, Josh McCarthy, Scott Baker, the mod, Andy Jenkins, Rocky and the headhunter Ryan Hogarth return to see who books their ticket to the finals. Perfect first dart.
135.
Second dart was a wide. Third dart was back to normal. So much movement in that action of James Richardson, but if you look at the elbow of delivery, it's so compact, it never really leaves his side.
65.
The only thing that is moving is the forearm. It's like one of those Chinese dolls you see in everybody's desk. Just compact movement. It's a very good action.
52.
Biggest finish we've seen tonight is a 1-2-6 from Chaz Barstow.
85.
And it was his last 3 darts of the match against Wayne Warren, where he got a 4-2 win.
36.
And realistically, James Richardson could be 3-0 up. He could well be 2-1 down. Bullseye. Well, it didn't bounce out of the bull or the 25, it bounced out of the small 2. James Richardson
First down.
gets double 10. 19 darts, completes that leg, and he is now in command of this one, and Wayne Warren is in fear of being cut adrift at the bottom of the table here on 0 points. So let's have a look at leg 4. If James wins this match, which he should from this position, we would have 4 points for Burton, 4 points for Richardson, 6 for Barstow and 6 for Owen, the table topper, and Warren would be 4 points behind at the bottom
60.
on 0 with only 4 games to go. His chances of making the finals hanging by the thinnest of thin threads.
60.
He left it late yesterday in making his way to 3rd spot in the Group A table. He had 5 matches to get that done. But
180.
in only having 4 tomorrow, you get the feeling that his ability to make the finals maybe are just a bit out of even his reach.
57.
Unless, of course, he does win this match, equalises James's points tally, has a
32.
belter of a day tomorrow in beating all of his rivals and then potentially getting himself in the top 2. It's incredibly possible. But he may have to look at this scenario now as knockout. Any loss,
60.
he's not going to make it. It's a mid-80s game in the averages. Wayne on 82, James on 85, stroke 86. Just a few darts at double, and it's just a little bit off colour, this performance. And James not leaving a finish after 15 on throw, that will make him really mad. Wayne's not going to go for the ball.
95.
Oh, he's missed the single. That really wasn't part of the plan. Now, all of a sudden, things have changed. Should have been 3 darts at tops. Now it's only 2 at double 16. And it did change things, that missed single. James Richardson, with that incredible approach with the 2 treble 20s, gives himself 2 at tops and snags it. Really good steal in the game of darts, that is. Get the big approach, put the pressure on when he makes the mistake, and now you give yourself extra opportunities to double your points tally for the night, to make a bad night a somewhat okay night. Just goes to show you should never give up in a leg of darts.
83.
Talk about the fact that there are no freebies. There are no free legs. You've got to hit that double. No one's going to do it for you.
60.
If you don't hit it, your opponent will swoop.
100.
A few of my old Australian pals used to call me that. That was one of my nicknames before the asset. Swoop.
10.
Because apparently I had the reputation of stealing legs from people and swooping in. That's taking me back.
140.
Got to get to the bottom of why Wayne Warren is called Yank by the end of tomorrow. So if anybody knows why, please tweet me at the Asset 180 sometime over the
81.
next 23 hours or so. I'd very much appreciate it. I know I say never give up on a leg of darts, and James won't, but he will fancy this leg may be over.
140.
Might be wrong though. Again, he's left himself positioned. Does it matter? It absolutely doesn't, because that's a 78 out for Wayne Warren, who takes this match into at least a 6th leg. But it does depend on what James Richardson does here. Can he utilise the start to finish things up at 4 legs to 2? James is the kind of player that if you want to read him, you read his eyes.
95.
He doesn't give a great deal away in body language. It's all about the eyes, the facial expressions. And when he starts with 43, you can tell
59.
how he's feeling, and he'll hate the first 6 darts in this leg. Look at the facial expression in the background there.
43.
Tells a story. And as bad as this start has been to this leg, he's gotten away with it.
10.
Yes, that's better. That steadies the ship somewhat. And when he returns, he has to start 19s. Did you hear me, James? You have to start 19s on 299.
10.
Don't get it at all. 140 leaves 159. Ton leaves 199. You don't want to be squandered on that number. I know people prefer to go for treble 20s, but that just doesn't sit right with me. Give yourself the most opportunities possible by getting rid of that 9 at the end of the score.
59.
Rant over. 164. Turns into double 12.
140.
Nice magic trick there, Wayne. I shall make that 164 turn into something else. And he's now being given 3 darts for it.
35.
Is he going to be favoured for the match now? He's not out of it by any means. That's a 17 darter from Wayne Warren. And he's going to take us to the very last leg of the session. Because if he can find one more hold of throw for tonight, he's still in with a chance later on Friday night. Players will return in roughly 21 hours' time for the culmination of this group. I'm sure they will be watching on during the day tomorrow to see who comes through
81.
Group B, which will start again in 9 hours. But Richardson, since giving himself his 3rd leg, has not played well. He's made a couple of tactical mistakes. And he's not had a great deal of a love affair with that treble 20. 399 left after 6 in the last leg. 360 left after 6 in this leg. That is not what James has been doing very recently. Time to get moving.
140.
Much better. Gives him a 1 dart lead after 9. 1 dart lead extinguished.
140.
And Wayne Warren gets his 6th 140 of the match to leave himself a chance to win the game right there. But this is an enormous 180 from James Richardson. Where did that come from? His first 180 of the match in his last
fight.
scoring visit of the day. Double 10. Double 5. The dart wasn't comfortable in his hand and it made a difference. 3 mismatched darts and Yank can yank his way to 2 points if he can find himself 14 in bull. He shaves the wire. James Richardson, who has missed 3 match darts already, has to negotiate a very sticky looking 5, and you have to get the single first.
Nice go.
Wayne can pick his spot, and he will think that maybe the points are being gifted his way. He's been given the opportunity, and he has not taken it on. I always say the single is the harder bit. That is a good single. Double 1.
Nice go.
No score indeed. Five match darts missed by James Richardson, who left tops after a beautiful 180. Wayne Warren has found a pinpoint double 8 eventually. It's 4 legs to 3 to him. He has won. He's just going to go and double check the double. But I can assure you, Wayne, it is in. And he has got 2 points to join James Richardson on that tally before we come back in around 21 hours to finish things up in Group C. But first and foremost, we will finish up Group B in about 9 hours' time via the Online Darts YouTube channel and, of course, the streaming capabilities of your favoured bookmakers. Thanks for joining us this evening and into the early hours. We're going to go and get a few hours rest, but we will be back in a few hours' time with the likes of Colin Osborne and Andy Jenkins from 9:30 a.m. here at the Online Darts Live League. Good night for now. We'll see you very soon.